This is Lansdowne, Irish football's most interactive podcast. David Dunn here, flying a solo. And of course, as always, if you like to see, love what you hear, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And if you wouldn't mind, you like a bit of opinion as well, you can head over to lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. We are trying to grow the YouTube channel, so we would greatly appreciate it. You might notice something, my ears. Basically, my rabbit broke out of her hutch right there. I'm looking at her now. Yeah, she knows what she did. Broke out of the hutch overnight and cut the wires of my headphones. So I'm going to do my best for you. So the audio isn't quite where we'd like it to be, but this is what we do, folks. We suffer for our art. Well, she makes me suffer for my art. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the first 3 days of the European Championship so far, which I think has actually been a pretty good return. Goals galore. And also we're going to have a little look at the latest news at Casement Park, the saga that just won't go away. Of course, that will be more to do with Euro 2028 as opposed to Euro 2024. So, yeah, let's get started. I think the only place to start would be Scotland. Obviously, Scotland in the opening game against Germany lost 5-1. And, yeah, even the goal Scotland got was actually an own goal. So, oh dear. Scotland have a very decent qualifying record. This is actually their 12th major tournament appearance. However, they've never actually qualified from the group, ever. I think a couple of times they lost out on goal difference, but never, ever qualified from the group stage. When you think about it, Ireland, I think we've qualified for 6 tournaments, and only twice we've never qualified out of the group stage. That was Euro 88 and Euro 2012. I mean, to be fair, in Euro 88, we were 10 minutes away from semi-final. Euro 2012. Yeah, less said about that, the better. Well, back to Scotland, and they just have a very, very poor record in major championships. When you consider the players they've had over the years, the squads they've had from the 70s, 80s, and maybe not the 90s too much, that's an incredible record. But they got absolutely battered by the home nation. I mean, it didn't get off to the best of starts. I mean, they were 1-0 down after 10 minutes. I do have my stuff here. Florian Wirtz getting the goal there 10 minutes. And I think by half time, they were down to, they were 3-0 down, and they were down to 10 men. Ryan Porteous with an absolutely disgusting challenge, actually, a proper leg break challenge. I'm not actually smiling about that, but it was ridiculous. Totally lost the head. And yeah, Scotland only got a goal when Antonio Rudiger with his own goal in the 87th minute. Andy Robertson came out. He's the Scotland captain, obviously Liverpool player, and he gave his little speech at the end, said, we need to be more aggressive going forward, etc. And of course, Roy Keane on ITV didn't like that one bit. Now, I'm in London, so I have to watch it on ITV or BBC. So this is what Roy Keane had to say. I just got the audio here, so it's about 50 seconds long. That's what he had to say about Andy Robertson and what he said after the Scotland's mauling, should we say.
Andy Robertson spoke at the end of the game, said they had a game plan. It's well and good having a plan. He said then we weren't aggressive enough. You have to be aggressive in a game of football. When you're up against opposition who are much stronger than you, being aggressive is part of a footballer. I love watching skillful players, absolutely love it. And the talent we saw with the German players tonight, because they were given time, is great to watch. But my goodness, when you're playing football at this level, you've got to hit people. Hit them properly, hit them aggressively, do it in the right way. If you step off against them, like Scotland did tonight, and it's no good talking after the game, we had a game plan, it's rubbish. Andy Robertson, it's all just rubbish coming out. You knew before the game what was at stake, and after the game, it's no good going, we'll regroup and we'll be angry tomorrow. No, you should be angry for a long time. They spoke before the game about creating a history. They're creating a history, all right, by playing as bad as that and letting their manager and supporters down.
Well, Roy Keane not happy at all with Andy Robertson or Scotland. He is right, they are making history. I do believe that they have the record for the most appearances at a major tournament and not making it past the first round, whatever way that is written down in the book or the group stage in the books. And he is correct. But You know, it was good to see Roy getting in on the spirit of Euro 2024, where he kind of reenacted for Ian Wright in a Berlin shopping market what happened in Saipan. That's what happens, Martin, when you're not on the show. I'm gonna get sick of that one. Good to see Roy getting in the jocularity, no pun intended, over there in Berlin. Of course, the second day we had 3 games. So 3 games. I mean, 24 games, or sorry, 24 teams now in the European Championships. I can remember when it was 8 teams, 2 groups of 4. Whoever, you know, semi-finals is made up first and second place. Mad stuff, isn't it? But 24 teams in it. So you got 3 games during the day. So it's kind of gone back to a bit like Italia 90 or USA 94, if you remember those days. Hungary against Switzerland, of course, that was the earlier game. Hungary lost 3-1 to Switzerland. It's kind of funny because I think we've broken Hungary. I think we've actually demoralised them. They were 14 games undefeated when they came to Dublin. Tripart did the business. Lost to us, and now they lost to Switzerland. They're quite outclassed as well in the end. Of course, I think the first goal was given offside, but they have the AI, don't they? They have the partial AI offside, and straight away, no problem. Yeah, the goal was that was disallowed, was then reallowed. I think I've said that right. So Hungary, not a great start there. Spain also against Croatia. 3-0. I mean, they were 3-0 up at half time. Who saw that? I think they were playing like, I mean, Modric is still on that team, isn't he? Still a great, still a fantastic player, but I mean, he's an alpha now at this stage. I joke. He's still a fantastic player. And then, of course, Italy against Albania. Albania making their first appearance at a major tournament. Scored the fastest ever goal at a European Championship, 23 seconds. Nadim Bajrami, you know me, my pronunciations, getting the fastest goal before Alessandro Bastoni. 10 minutes later, equalised, and then Nicola Barella, 16 minutes, gave them a 2-1 win. I actually thought you were going to batter them in the end, but it was either Albania will hold out or Italy would hammer them, but I suppose neither happened. And speaking of which, actually, about Albania making a first appearance in a major tournament, Posh, or Peterborough FC, Peterborough United, chairman Dermot Anthony, born and bred Dubliner, he hit out on Twitter about Albania, and he sort of made a case about Irish football and the state of Irish football. Here we go. How on earth has countries like Albania, no disrespect, made the Euros and not Ireland? And he's tagged in the Ireland football, the FAI Twitter. With all due respect, what the fuck are the FAI doing with our national team? I'm happy to work for free to resolve this nonsense. With players we have at our disposal, we should be qualifying for Euros and World Cups easily. Let's get our act together, Irish football. Out with the veterans and never beens, and let's get rocking and rolling for USA 2026 World Cup. Ridiculous how awful Irish international football has been the last 6+ years. Don't get James McLean going on that. And then someone that responds to him, I like this actually. Daniel Wenham responds, "You can't get Peterborough promoted, but think you can get Ireland to a World Cup." Darren Maloney responds to that. Got them promoted many times against the big boys and won a couple of cups, Daniel. All with a club with 8,000 fans. So yeah, I do think I could do that, no issue. Next question. And Daniel just responds, "Yeah, fair play, you win." Which, to be fair, I think is, fair play to Daniel. And actually, he got a lot of plaudits on Twitter for that, because they were saying, "Yeah, fair play." No mudslinging, didn't double down. He just went, "Yeah, fair enough." And then there was another question here from Martin Dillon. Offer your assistance to the FAI on where they are going wrong. And Darren McAnthony said, "They know who I am and how to get hold of me." And actually, I tried to get in on the vibe, and they'd ask, "Well, tell you what, Darren, why don't you come on Lansdowne Roar? We can talk about it." and he hasn't responded. Probably won't either. But there you go. Darren McAnthony wants to get involved. He is known for fantastic transfer business. To be fair, Peterborough United have punched above their weight. It might lead with Darren Ferguson becoming Ireland manager. He does have a point, though, doesn't he? Not to take away from Albania or Georgia or any of those teams. I think with the talent we have at our disposal, and I've always said it, anyone who's been watching Lansdowne Roar or Green Machine or whatever from the start, I've always said from day one that international football is about having a house in order. And then, whatever talent you've got at your disposal. But it's about having a house in order. We haven't had our house in order. We won't have our house in order until maybe the end of the year. It depends on who we have as a manager. I wouldn't rule out that, we're going to have an interim manager for September. Why wouldn't we? What have we got to go on to suggest otherwise? Could it be John O'Shea? Could it be Willie Sagnol? Obviously, with Georgia at the moment, what if he has a good campaign and then clubs come in for him? You don't know. We don't know. So we get Darren McAnthony's frustration, and why not? Let's have a chat. Let's have a discussion. The thing that amazes me with Irish football is that there are some really talented people in Irish football that aren't. There are talented people involved with the FAI. Okay, despite their shortcomings. But there's also a lot of very talented Irish people in football around the globe, of course, over here in England or the UK, that are involved in Irish football. And it's mind-boggling. Companies that have nothing to do with Irish football. Guinness, for example, have announced a sponsorship with the English Premier League. They're not involved in anything to do with Irish football when we need the money. Myron has said on this podcast, he's turned around and said, well, actually, I'd like to see Guinness sponsor the Ireland team with the harp or whatever. And there's nothing. And yet there they are sponsoring the English Premier League. It's madness. It's madness. You look at so much is wrong with Irish football. You've got an away shirt. I don't think it's still available. They launched it. They advertised it on Twitter the day the game against Portugal. Could you buy it? No, you couldn't. There's so much wrong with Irish football. Just they need somebody in there to get their house in order, get their ducks in a row. Any other buzzwords I can think of from the boardroom. Maybe Darren McAnthony could be the man to do that. He says he's going to do it for free. Or he could do it for free. FAI. Get in touch. He's on Twitter. But yeah, I just boggles the mind. And of course, that takes us on to day 3 of the Euros. And of course, the first game is Poland against the Netherlands. Poland taking the lead, but the Dutch, through a rather fortuitous goal, Cody Gapko, I always get that name bloody mixed up, equalising, and Wedgehorst getting late enough win in the 83rd minute, giving Netherlands a win over Poland. Of course, Netherlands were in our group. Don't remind me of that. Then the second game of the day was Slovenia against Denmark. And Christian Eriksen, what a story that is. 1,100 days after he had a cardiac arrest, not a heart attack. I put that on the page earlier on and I was corrected straight away. It's not a heart attack. There's a difference. I was like, okay, sorry. And he was right. And I did say fair and I changed it. Had a cardiac arrest 1,100 days ago. Euro 2020, although it was 2021. In Copenhagen against Finland. Opening game. Dropped. Died for 5 minutes. He was dead for 5 minutes. 1,100 days later, he comes back and he scores. He not only starts the game, he scores. And Denmark's first goal of the tournament. Fantastic. What a story that is. I'm delighted for Christian Eriksen. And it's great. It's a real happy story. So delighted. However, his goal wasn't enough as Erik Janse got the equaliser, their star man, for Slovenia in the 77th minute. So, right, fantastic start for Slovenia. Honours even over there. And then, of course, the big game tonight. Serbia against England. The English getting off to a steady start. It wasn't brilliant. They have a fantastic squad, England. Their attacking power is phenomenal. It's frightening, actually. But they didn't look 100% tonight. I think for the first 30 minutes, they were really, really good. And they probably should have made it 2 or 3-0. Bellingham did fantastic. I'm a big fan of Jude Bellingham. Sorry, Connor. Connor's not. But yeah, I think he's a phenomenal player. But he does try to do too much. I think that's a fair point. A little bit there. But he did really well for the first goal. It looked like they could have made it 2 or 3-0. But then they just kind of fell away and Serbia came back in. Serbia, like all Serbian or Yugoslavian teams in the past, disciplined, strong, powerful, and they are technically very proficient. And they really, really were very unlucky not to get something out of this game. And obviously, Harry Kane, towards the end, almost made it 2-0, hit the crossbar. Well, goalkeeper onto the crossbar. I'm sorry, Alan Shearer, it was not a great save. It was right at the goalkeeper. It was right at the goalkeeper. I'm probably going to have somebody from the Goalkeepers Union having a go at me over that. So let's have a look here at Casement Park. That's what it looks like at the moment. It's supposed to be used in the UK and Ireland Euros of 2028. That's, of course, England, Scotland, Wales, Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Now, the only chance they have of having anything to do with this is Casement Park. Now, of course, as we all know, that went up the Unionist arses sideways because Windsor Park is just not big enough. It's not going to happen. Unfortunately for Casement Park, it requires a lot of different bodies to allocate a lot of, different bits of funding or whatever. There was funding for it in 2011 because, as you can tell, it's a bit. It needs to be refurbished. So it was going to be refurbished as a Gaelic stadium in 2011. As you can tell, there's no work gone into it whatsoever because we've had all sorts of delays, all sorts of protests, just the usual stuff. However, for a UEFA stadium, for a UEFA sanctioned stadium, and I'm not having a go at the GAA here, the conditions are a lot more stringent in terms of toilets, bars, etc. So that is an unknown quantity. Then they all have to sit down and work it all out and decide who gives what. The government in the Republic of Ireland has given 50 million. Now that's a cross-border thing that they do. For cross-border projects, I think it's part of Go for the agreement. They've got, right, there you go, there's 50 million quid. Have it towards the stadium. It would have gone to Northern Ireland anyway. There you go, that's the Casement Park. And the funding from the British government is now thrown into doubt, or it's thrown into limbo, because Rishi Sunak, who is the single worst politician I've ever seen in my entire life, without trying to get too political, and looks like something more out of an Armando Iannucci sketch, he has called a snap election in July, the 4th of July, an election that the Tories will lose. They will absolutely lose. Labour will be in power. It just depends on by how many seats, what majority they get, and how much they can loosen the purse strings for their own needs or projects. So that throws a lot of things into doubt. So really don't know. And I think, looking here, UEFA would have expected work to begin already on the stadium, and it hasn't. Things scarce to get built in Ireland, north or south of the border, to be fair. We're very lucky that we got the new Lansdowne Road built more out of necessity, really, than anything else. So we're grand there. But trying to get this stadium built it's just been an absolute nightmare. It's actually entering Shamrock Rovers and the Tallaght Stadium level of ridiculousness at this stage. So we'll see what happens. But I believe if they don't get it going at all, which will be a great shame, I think, for Northern Ireland. It must be very frustrating. But Dublin will get the extra game, it is believed anyway. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep you updated on that. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. We should be back on Wednesday. We're going to try and get 3 podcasts minimum out to you a week with myself and Martin. So thank you yet again for your support. It's been fantastic. And if you want to support us a bit more, spread the word. Hit the old subscribe button there. Scan the QR code. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter, and the YouTube channel. We're trying to build it up there a little bit, folks, so we can hit that like button, it would mean the world to us. And if you want an opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. Anyway, I'm off. Good night. God bless. And well, we're not in it, but come on, you boys, and great.